Hi, everybody. This is Kathy L. Murphy, the Pulpit Queen, reporting a little raspy voice out in my little cabin in the woods called Murphy's Law. And I'm here on this February 1st because I want to tell you all about the books that we're going to be reading for February. I'm very excited and some exciting new news and programs we've got coming up. But first, I want to begin with our book of the month. It is called Sugarbirds. It's a novel by Cheryl Gray Bostrom. Cheryl will be at our book club, our Tuesday night book club at 7:00 p.m. tonight, Central Standard Time. I hope you can join us then. But this is a wonderful read set in the Northwest Washington State in 1985. And I'm just going to give you a little tease. For years, Harris Haynes had taught his daughter Aggie the ways of the northern woods, where she sketches nests of wild birds as an antidote to sadness. Then her depressed, unpredictable mother forbids her to climb the trees that give her sanctuary and comfort. Angry, 10-year-old Aggie accidentally lights a tragic fire and flees downriver. She lands her boat near untamed forest, then hides amongst the trees and creatures she believes are her only friends, determined to remain undiscovered. This is the very beginning of this book. And I don't know how many of you fantasized as a child of running away into the woods and living. Maybe it was from reading My Side of the Mountain or Hatchet by Gary Paulson, but this is a fantastic read. And Cheryl will be here tonight. And we'll be taping that also to be posted later on our Kathy L. Murphy channel on YouTube. Next up, we have every month an international read because we're an international book club. And this month I've chosen Sanju. It's by Wandra Chang. It's a wonderful story that is about a woman finding her own. It's this debut novel of epic scope. Wandra Chang offers an insightful exploration into post-World War II South Korea life through a portrayal of Yu Sanju, a miscast woman who comes of age at a time when her family and others of her class cling to the culture and suppress her women's dreams and ambition. Chang is a former psychotherapist. She takes us to a place in the world that has recently become more visible to Western audiences due to the success of South Korean films. I'm telling you, we never know somebody else's story until we walk in their shoes, and we can do that by reading books. So Wandra will be coming up on our Tuesday night book club. So I hope you will check out her book. And that leads me to our next book, which is not here. As I was getting ready for today to do this, I have been throwing books left and right while I did my week-long book club convention, and somehow the Souls of Our Shores has disappeared by Kathy Ramsberger. And I even think I had 2 copies. I don't know where it's disappeared, if it's under the couch, but as you can see behind me, I have all my book club selections and I've gone through them a zillion times, but my daughters may have borrowed it. But if you haven't read this book, you're going to want to, because it's a story of a young woman who falls in love with a man who's from another country and another religion, and it's their story. It's a story that I understand myself because my first husband was from another country. And I understand that unless you experience that firsthand, like I did, because I was Christian and he was Muslim, it's very hard to understand. But we do that by reading books and by sharing the conversation with our authors and our readers. So Souls of Our Shore, she also will be featured on our Tuesday night book club this month. So you don't want to miss it. And you don't want to see all her wonderful posts of where she interviews authors up on her podcast too. Last, that leads me to a favorite author of the Pulpit Queens, River Jordan. This book is called Sugar Baby and Other Stories. It's short story collection by a master storyteller from Nashville, Tennessee, originally from down around Panama City, Florida. But I tell you, if you want to know Southern Gothic, country noir, I can think it falls under a lot of different things. All I have to say is she's one of the best storytellers I've ever read. I'm very proud of this book. I'm also proud that Mandy Haynes, our executive director, did this cover and helped format this book. So these are our 4 reads for February for 2021. But I'm not going to end there because one of the things I did not get to do when I was having my girlfriend weekend is I'm a voracious reader. You know, I got over 1,100 books last year. And Mandy Haynes and I were both reading them. But sometimes I just need books that just can take me to another place that maybe not fit exactly for our book club, or maybe the author has passed away, or maybe they become so famous that we can't get them to come to our meetings. But I want to begin with a book that began with a Netflix series I watched, The Durrells of Corfu. This is a story about a family, true story about a family in England who went, the husband died and they were left with very little means, and the mother decided to take her nearly grown children to another country where they could live on, you know, much less sustenance than they would in England. So they went to the island of Corfu in Greece. Now, I watched this show. I was fascinated, and I found out it was based on a true story. So I got all the books, and I began with this one, The Durrells of Corfu. If you have not heard of Michael Hegg, you need to read it. And then the youngest son in the family of the Durrells also wrote a series of books, and I've got all those I've got to read too. So this is travel reading at the best. I could not put this book down. Very eccentric family who each one of the children made their mark in this world with whatever was their passions in life. You have to read it. Next up, I want to share an actress that I have admired for a long time. She's hilarious. She was in this absolutely fabulous British broadcasting television series. And then I found out on YouTube, because I go on there all the time to watch shows and things. I found out that Joanne Lumley, who is this actress who began as a fashion model in the 1960s, about the same time as Twiggy, has a travel series where she goes all around the world with a film crew and herself. And of course, she went to India, which is one of my favorite places I want to go, a 3-part series on India. She is absolutely fabulous. And if you have not read her biography, Joanna Lumley, absolutely, I highly recommend it. This is the way I've always dreamed of living my life, living out loud, going after your passions, going to the places you've always dreamed. And I think you will find it an absolutely wonderful, wonderful read. Next up, I happened across this book when I was looking for books on India, and I'm not even sure how to pronounce it, Shantaram. It's a novel, and I ordered it, and I was all excited about it because when I got it, at the top of the page, there's a quote from my favorite author, Pat Conroy, a novel of the first order, a work of extraordinary art, a thing of exceptional beauty. Well, if Pat Conroy would remark on a book, I couldn't wait to read it. Now, it's a tome, so of course I didn't put it on the reading list, but it is a book that I highly recommend you read, and it's by an Australian author, Gregory David Roberts, who went down into the slums of India, and he wrote this story. It's just absolutely a fabulous read. It makes me want to go to India even more. Next up, I happened upon hearing about this man by the name of Richard Powers from a video that I saw on YouTube of Shah Rukh Khan, who is the most popular Indian actor. He's from India, but he's the most popular actor in the world. He has the biggest following. And he was telling about the books that he had read. And one of the books that he'd read was by this author by the name of Richard Powers, who I had not heard of. And so I started reading his book. And I have to tell you, he has a new one called Bewilderment, a novel. He's a winner of the Pulitzer Prize, but the book that I love, I have not actually read this, but I just loved the overstory. And so if you haven't, he's got about 9 novels. If you have not read Richard Powers, he is so world famous. You know, we try to help first book authors, but it's so good I had to share it with you. So read Bewilderment and definitely read The Overstory and all of his books, because each one is an exceptional standalone read. They're great. This year we started the Book and Film Club, and I've been showing all my favorite films, and one of them was The Birds, the Alfred Hitchcock film. And those who've been in the Pulpwood Queens for a long time know that when we went, we had a crazy Barbie birthday party, one girlfriend weekend, and I had found years before a Tippi Hedren Barbie that was in the iconic green suit with the birds from the film, and I bought it. So I decided to go to the event dressed as Tippi Hedren, and so I had birds pecking me. But the story about Tippi Hedren that is most important to me, she wrote the very first book that I ever had signed and autographed when I was living in California. It was The Cats of Shambhala. And it's her story about how she rescued and saved the big cats at her home in Los Angeles. She's a real animal advocate. I fell in love with her then. I fell in love with her movies. But I bought this book recently on Tippi, and this is exactly how my book is signed, with the little birds and everything. It's a memoir. And her story, behind the story of working with Alfred Hitchcock, is something to be read. We all see Hollywood as glamorous and exciting. And this woman, I believe now, is quite of age, and she looks just as beautiful now as she did then. And I just adore her. And if you love biographies, autobiographies, memoirs, this is the book to read, Tippi Hedren. Next up is a fellow Texan East Texan who comes from just down the road from me. He's done really well in life. He's become an actor, and he's become a philanthropist. Him and his wife, Camille, have started this not-for-profit that is doing wonderful things. The latest thing he did here in Texas was he did a big fundraiser for all of us that really got devastated by the ice storm that hit last February. I mean, I was without power, water. I lost all my plumbing, all the pipes burst. I had to replace all my roofs. And he did this huge fundraiser to help schools and all kinds of different people get their water back on and make those repairs. He's a wonderful human being, and his name is Matthew McConaughey. And I just watched him on Adriana's book club, Adriana Inc., talking about his beliefs and style, and just an incredible, incredible man. And I love to read about people that I admire. He is one of them. And I highly recommend you read Green Lights. I look forward to, he has a journal out that goes along with it, and he's working on another book. So, I'm just really praying that one day I can get him at our girlfriend weekend, because he's right here in Texas, y'all, down in Austin. So I'm going to keep trying. Last, I want to talk about another author that I read his biography, because Shah Rukh Khan said that he was a role model for him when he started acting. And I always loved him myself. The Back to the Future movies and all the sitcoms and shows that he's been. But it's Michael J. Fox, you all. And he wrote No Time Like the Future, An Optimist Considers Mortality. What he has gone through with his health, he has been a model for all of us on when life throws you the worst curveball you've ever seen. He's doing very well. I can't tell you how inspiring this book was, and I hope everybody will read the book. It's really great. Now, I still have more. I'm so sorry, you guys. I read a lot. But one of the authors that did not show at my girlfriend weekend, I'm really concerned. She's 92. She was supposed to be there, and I haven't been able to reach her, was Pat Montadon. And she is my friend that lives in Beverly Hills. Her name is Recipes for Conversation. And she wrote a book, A Guide to Hosting Authentic Conversation in the Digital Age and a Pandemic, 92. This woman has been nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize. She's a philanthropist. She has lived her life on her own terms and always been a positive giver. We picked her book, her memoir, Peeing on Hot Coals. She was raised in Waurika, Oklahoma, some time back. And it was the most inspiring book ever, because you'll have to read the book. But this is one that is perfect for book clubs because it's all kinds of, she used to have these round table luncheons where she would invite all kinds of different people from all walks of life. Everybody from Shirley Temple Black to Alex Haley, who may be, the neighbor down the road who was a juggler. I mean, she's just invited so many people to her table. This is the beautiful Pat. She's lovely. I stayed at her home 2 years ago with my best friend, and we had the time of our lives. Getting to know these authors has enriched my life so much, and we always try to bring the authors into the conversation. So I'm hoping to get Pat to us soon. Last, I want to leave, we had David Dotson, who's the executive director of the Dolly Parton Imagination Library, which is a organization that I have been promoting for years. I was trying to start the program in East Texas, and then finally when I got to be president of the local Rotary Club in Jefferson, Texas, we started the Dolly Parton Imagination Library project. And for 12 years, we've been providing, I think, something like 200 kids book every month from the time they're born until they start kindergarten. And that's just the little teeny bit that I've done. She has put billions of books out into the world, and she has a new big book. It's called Dolly Parton Storyteller, and it's Dolly Parton's life through her songs and lyrics. I have never seen anything like this book. This is one I just like to pick up when after my morning meditation and prayer and have my coffee. I just love music. I love Dolly Parton, as you can tell. And I just think her legacy will live on forever for what she's done for children in reading. Because of that, for the last 2 years, I became a grandmother. My grandson's going to be 3 coming up, and I've been doing story times on my channel, on my Kathy L. Murphy channel, with him in mind, but other children too, because I started this book selling life as a children's bookseller, manager, buyer, and event coordinator. And I used to do children's books at this bookstore here in East Texas, lots of children's events. And when my children were small, it was the thing to do. But as they got busy in activities, that kind of went aside. And I became a book publisher's rep. And then I went on to own my own bookstore and hair salon. And then I started this book club. But when my grandson was born, everything started flooding back to me of how I got started on the road to reading because of the teachers and the librarians who took me under their wing. And they showed me that life could be beautiful from the books that I read. So I'm starting back up my book club, and it's going to be called Mama Cat, which is what my grandson calls me, Mama Cat's Book Club. And I'm kicking it off with my good friend, dear friend, Adriana Trigiani, who wrote this beautiful brand new book just in time for Valentine's Day, The House of Love. My grandson and I spent a long weekend doing all the activities in this book, from making a Valentine tree to making Valentines in my house to baking cupcakes. There's so many activities for families and so much love in this book. We're going to be starting that 10 o'clock a.m. Just before Valentine's Day on February 12th. So I hope you'll join me. And I've already got, excuse me, I've already got my next author lined up. So you'll be hearing from me about that soon. And also Mandy Haynes, my executive director, she goes, let's take it a little bit further. Let's start a book club for middle age readers and up. And so she's starting the Cool Cats Book Club, Mandy Haynes. And one of the books that she's been putting up is David Valdez, Spin Me Right Round, which should be a great book. It's from lauded writer David Valdez, a sharp and funny YA novel that's Back to the Future with a twist, as a gay teen travels back in time to save a closeted classmate's life. It's time that we talk about these things, folks, and nobody does it better than David Valdez. So we are very excited about our reading program, but we have even more excitement because tonight for my book club meeting, I don't know if you can see this, but I've got on I Survived 2022, the International Public Queens Girlfriend Weekend week-long book club convention. We have our own swag, and I put a lot of it up here. I just got this in, and I'm very excited about it. You know, book club requires wine, so we now have wine bags, and this has our January book on the cover, Work in Progress, which has 59 of our authors. It's funny, I have wine in here, but I also have a wonderful bottle of wine champagne bubble bath. And what a great gift for a book club member. And we also have coffee mugs. I've got them all spread out along here. Zipper bags, book bags, t-shirts. I had this shirt on at the beginning of my girlfriend weekend. It's called Work in Progress, and it's our new anthology that has 59 of our Pulpwood Queen and Timber Guy authors in it, and I love it. These are super soft. You can get them on our website. You can also order all of the books on our website too. Every single book that we've got is on there, except for these few that I've just added here. I'm going to get those on right away. So I've got to get ready for Adriana's book club, which may have already started, Adriana Inc. It's up on Facebook. And then I'm going to go to my book club. This is book club day. And there's nothing that gets me more excited about a brand new year than it's reading, everybody, because sharing the story with our book club members and having our authors in the conversation, there has never been a better entertainment for me. So join us soon. Go to our calendar events on www.thepulpwoodqueens.com. Check out all the new things we're added, and the Book and Film Club will start up this Saturday. I will be back hosting the Book and Film Club, and we've got a great book film for you that was based on a book, Lilies of the Field, starring one of my favorite stars, Sidney Poitier, who died recently. So I started watching all of his films again, and Lilies of the Field made me realize what a wonderful world we live in when we are givers. So I hope you'll watch the book and films with us on Saturday night. I hope you'll go to our calendar events. I hope you'll buy our books from our bookstore on our website, because if you do, and send me the receipt, I'll send you autographed book plates for those books. And I also have some really nice swag from our authors that I'm going to send to anybody that spends $100. So send me your receipt with address and I will get those to you. I just know it's time to get ready for book club, and you all have a wonderful February. Happy Valentine's Day. Won't you be my Valentine? Bye, everybody. We'll see you at the book club.